Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni viewer, and today I'm going to be taking a closer look at another figure I picked up at G-Fest. This 1991 Bandai Rodan that is based on the original 1956 design. I was looking around for some sort of interesting, unique figure to get at G-Fest. I was specifically actually looking for Gamera, Baragon, or Mogera, but I didn't really see many examples, and then I saw this guy just sitting on a collected shelf all alone. He was the only one there, and he just spoke to me. So I had to get him. And now I'm making a video on him. So, what kind of figure is he? Let's take a closer look. So like I said, this 1991 figure is based on the original 1956 version of Rodan. You can tell from the shape of the head. Unlike later Showa versions of Rodan, the original 56 version had a much larger head with a more pronounced beak and horns. So that's the giveaway. This is the original, not like the smaller headed version who appeared later in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. And sculpt-wise, it's very well made. Even though this is an earlier Bandai figure, you can see the detail that went into every single aspect of him. I mean, it's not necessarily the highest level of detail, but there's the rough texture on the wings that gradually gives way to smoother things. There's the armored layers on the stomach, and the head itself, of course. I mean, it definitely looks like the classic Rodan. It has all the right features you would want, including the fan-shaped tail. The only weird part for me, actually, is the feet. Let's zoom in a little. The feet are really tiny for this figure. Much smaller, I actually think, than they were in the movie. It actually kind of looks like the figure gets smaller as it goes down, which, as you can see, it's actually pretty well balanced, but also not very stable. So gotta be careful when handling him, or else he could potentially fall down. The figure also has no articulation at all. The head and the wings are separate pieces, but you can't move them. You see? I'm trying to move the wings right now. They've only got a little bit of give to them, but otherwise, nothing. This is not an articulated figure. It's just meant to stand there and look good. And I'll be honest, it does. I suppose I should also talk about the paint job, though, because this is where they took a few liberties. If you've seen the original Rodan, you know that he's a reddish-brown color, but also it's a solid reddish-brown color from top to bottom. There wasn't any real variation. But here they decided to add some different colors, like some specifically gold on the beak, the armored stomach, and the claws on his wings and feet. Definitely not movie accurate. And well, I'm of two minds about it. On the one hand, the gold actually does look kind of nice, contrasting with the reddish-brown of the figure. So, of all the colors they could have picked, it's not a bad choice. But it is a little bit uneven. You can tell it's not quite even on the stomach, not quite even on the face either. There's more gold on this side than there is on that side, so they were clearly just sort of spraying it on there, or however it was applied, without much care as to how it would look. Well, I don't know if how much care was or wasn't put into it, but it does look a little haphazard. But the color still looks good until you turn the figure around and you see another gold stripe flanked by these two random metallic green stripes. The heck are those doing there? It looks weird. That was not on the original design in the movie, and yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that. But Luckily, this is just on the back, and most people who have this figure will have Rodan facing front, so the green is usually not going to be seen at all. But still, weird choice, right? I can't be the only one who thinks that. Just for the heck of it, I'll contrast the 1991 figure with another Bandai Rodan I've got, that being the Final Wars Rodan. And this is not the Bandai USA Final Wars Rodan, this is an actual original Japanese Bandai Rodan, gotten at a completely different venue. So as you can see, size is much different. Final Wars Rodan, I mean, he's not a small figure, but the 56 version is almost a whole head taller than the Final Wars Rodan. But of course, Final Wars Rodan has a longer wingspan. That's partly due to the shape, but still, it's a contrast all the same. And also, of course, Final Wars Rodan has different attention to detail when it comes to the paint. Not just that they tried a bit more to be movie accurate, but also the fact that it's a flat paint as opposed to the glossier paint of the original figure. Also, Final Wars Rodan does have articulation. Both of his feet can rotate. Not that that really makes much of a difference, if I'm being perfectly honest. But, I mean, it's still 2 points of articulation more than this guy has. Does that make the original Rodan an inferior figure? Well, no, I don't think so. It's a figure from a different time, so they treated it a little differently. I just think it's interesting to see how different things were. This was a figure from 1991. This was considered a good high quality for kaiju figures. Fast forward to 2004, and this was the new standard. It's just an interesting little contrast. And also interesting to see how Final Wars Rodan, much like the 2019 Rodan, sorry about that, he drew a lot of inspiration from the original. The shape of the head, the color scheme. You can tell there was a clear influence at play. So essentially, that's about all I can say about the figure in terms of deeper analysis. I will say that I got this figure for a really good price, all things considered. It's a 1991 figure, like I said. They don't really make this version anymore. And not that this was cheap from the table I got it at, but compared to prices you can generally find it for online, like on eBay or something, I got this for a relatively good price. So I'm still counting this as a very lucky find. Not to mention, of course, that it's the original design. And outside of the 2019 film, I've always felt that the 1956 version is where Rodan looked his best. And even for the 2019 version, I mean, that was predominantly based on this design. So, yeah, I've always felt Rodan looked best in 1956. I know a lot of fans have felt the same way. So I'm really glad I got this figure. And he's gonna find a nice prominent place to be displayed in my room. And that's the long and the short of it. So until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it as well as subscribe to the channel for more content of a similar nature. Also, check the description for links to our Twitter, DeviantArt, and Patreon pages, as well as the Amazon link for the novel Operation Red Dragon: The Kaiju Wars Part 1, penned by yours truly. Thank you all, and we appreciate your support.